Alright guys, as you can see behind me, we are working on the Razor today. What I'm going to be doing today is installing some tail lights, headlights, brake lights, blinkers, horn, just all those things. We're going to wire up a harness and figure out where to wire it to, how to wire it into the Razor. So tag along with me and we will get started on that. Alrighty guys, so right there is the switch that comes stock on the bike. I stripped both those wires, cut the connectors off. I'm going to reuse that switch for my step down converter, which is right here. I have these wires stripped now as well. So I'm going to run the negative on this to the controller. Then I'm going to run the positive wire on the regular switch right there, the normal stock switch, to the controller. The other positive wire is going to hook into this step down, and then the yellow wire is going to be the output, as you can see right there, yellow wire output line. That is going to jump into my homemade little bus bar, and I might run some jumpers if I do end up using multiple. But that's how that's gonna work. I will do that real quick and then I'll update you guys. I know it looks like a mess right now, but it'll come together. Don't forget to put your heat shrink on there. That's very important. All right, before I do anything else, I am gonna mount this guy up in here, right up there. It's kind of dark, but you might be able to see that right up there. All right, that one's in there. So now we just need to get maybe a little wrench in there, tighten that down for good. Alright, so I have power coming out of the controller. It goes down to this switch right here. It bounces out of the switch, comes right here, and goes into the 72 volt down to the 12 volt converter right there. And now it's going to go into the converter and out this yellow wire right here. This yellow wire is where I'm going to install my homemade bus bar. I have the other bolt here, but that's going to be a positive, and then a ground for all the appliances that I'm going to put on here. So this is just a little update, and that's how it looks. I'm reusing the stock kill switch on-off button. Just because I left it in there because I knew I was going to, and then that's just the charger, the original charger. I'm going to leave that in there just in case I come up with something to use that for too. So I just got done soldering the connection between the switch and the converter. So now I should be good to go. I'm probably going to put a voltmeter on it and test it out before I hook up any kind of crazy power to it. And in instances like this, heat shrink is your friend. Just don't let the heat shrink get super close to the soldering part because it will shrink your heat wrap, and that's what happened right here. So I had to put a little slit in it. You can see right there, I had to put a little slit in it to make it go over this solder bead. I also have the ground wire coming out of the converter going into the ground right here on the controller, and then another line piggybacking up off of the controller ground to hook into my homemade bus bar box. I'm trying to figure out a place to mount this horn, and I'm thinking right back there underneath this plate. If you see that little dot, I have already started drilling a little tiny hole, and then I'll make it a bigger size, but that's right where my horn will be mounted to. So I'm going to pick up some handlebars real quick because I wasn't able to fit the controls with the key ignition and the mode button on there as well. So I'm going to go pick up some used handlebars real quick. The guy lived in my town and he wants 10 bucks. So I'm going to go get those real quick right down the street. Alright, I got the new bars installed and I got half of the cluster stuff and controls up there. They're used bars, so they're not anything fancy. They're just a little longer. And now it fits everything. So this certain control module that I bought came with 3 power cables that fed the headlight, tail light, and the horn, and that's what this light green, gray, and blue and white wire are. The one wire that you see being hooked into that, soldered into that, is going to be a feed wire coming from the distribution box, also known as the bus bar. Alright, I'm wiring up the tail light right now, and the yellow wire is gonna go to the light blue wire right there. Now what I have to do is I have to plug in a relay between the two so that it actually blinks. So that's what I'm doing right now. I just got done soldering, or excuse me, I just got done stripping this and crimping it so that this will plug right down on to the relay terminals right there. I'm going to do that for the right and the left blinker. We're going to put white to white right there. That's for the back turn signal. Now we're going to slide some heat shrink over it, just like this one. This is the right turn signal. And then it goes from here, jumps into this relay, jumps out of this relay, goes all the way up here, comes up and jumps into the blinker, which is going to be right there. So we're going to do the same exact thing right there, but with this white wire for the left turn signal. This is going to be the end that goes into the flash relay. We're going to put a little connector on this and then crimp it down. Sorry if you can hear the music in the background. And do it again right there. Boom. There's our connection. Pretty good. It's not going to come out. Shrink that heat shrink. There we go. Popped on all the way. And then we're going to run another cable from here up to the control module. Alright, I just got done twisting that up, preparing for a good solder. We're going to put a good solder bead right there. And I already got my heat shrink on. That's one of the biggest mistakes that people make, even me specifically, is I don't put my heat shrink on before I solder, and then I'm stuck. So go ahead and don't forget that step. Put your heat shrink on, and then get a good solder bead on there. And that is the best way to do electrical right now. Well, one of the best, probably the best. Because it is super strong. It's better than doing connectors. Unless you need to unconnect it one day. If you need to unconnect it one day, then connectors are better. But that right there is really strong. So I'm going to solder. This is the negative. Gonna be going from the tail light up to the homemade bus bar that I made. And that's what you want right there. And now this is gonna run down into this area. It's gonna plug in right in this area to that guy. A little bit more solid with those metal brackets, but the wiring harness for that is gonna be right here. This is gonna be my brake line, which I have not installed yet. Excuse me, my brake switch line, which will eventually be installed, but I left it out right now. And then everything else is my power blinkers, my running lights, and my ground. It's going into here. Those are my relays right there. And everything else is going to be inside of here. Alright, so wiring up the horn was probably the most simple part of this. At least the most simple part of the accessory list. All you do is run a positive and then a negative line to the horn, and you're good. There's no positive or negative terminal on the horn. So I'll pull that off real quick, and what we're gonna do right now is you're gonna wire in the light switch. Alright, looking at the control module now, the red positive line coming from the headlight is going to go to the white feed line that goes up to the control module. That is going to be the switch that interrupts and turns on and off your headlight, and that negative wire that you see me twisting is going to go to the accessory bar, which is the bus bar. Alrighty guys, so we got the battery all hooked up, we got everything wired, we got the headlight wired, which is what I was doing now, we got the tail lights, we got everything wired up, the horn, everything besides the brake light right now, which we will do later. Because I'm going to get upgraded brakes because I still have the stock brakes. But we got the horn, the light, the tail light, the 12-volt step down so that it'll run everything. We have the relays installed, which are those orange things right there. So if we go ahead and turn on the bike, and then we turn the switch on, which it's already on. Go ahead and turn the brights on. There we go. The lights are on. Let's try to test the horn. The horn works. And the blinker and the tail light work. Just not the brake light right now. So if I were to press the blinkers, let's go ahead and press the left one. Left blinker is in action. And let's go ahead and press the right one. Right blinker is in action with help of the relays. Those are very important. If you did not have those, then the right and left blinker would just be staying on. So I went out and bought one for $5, and this is the correct way to do it. So I'm gonna wire the positives up over here, the negatives up over here. That way it'll all be more sturdy driving down the street, and that's designed for it too. So okay, so I know it looks like a mess, but on the right there you have all the negatives. On the left 2 terminals you have all the positives, and then a little jumper cable. That's the little red one right there, is the little jumper cable. On the top left plug right there, that's the power coming in, and then these are the accessories. And then over here is all the grounds. I know it looks like a wiring mess right now, but it's basically what these bikes are. Alrighty, so when I first started this project, I thought it would be very confusing, but it's actually very simple. There is a running light, which is your positive. There is a negative. Then there is a left and right blinker. Those go into those orange relays. From there, they go into your signals, which is up here on your signal mechanics. Then you have your horn up here, and you also have your headlight. There's 3 wires that come from your headlight and blinker and horn mechanics. Those plug into one feed wire that goes to the 12-volt converter down there, into a switch, and then into the controller so that it turns everything off. Alright, we have this black conduit. We are going to wrap all the naked wires with that, just for a little bit more protection. Alrighty, I got the conduit on, just over the main parts. This bike is made of zip ties, basically. They're so handy. I'm gonna put it back together and I'm gonna test ride it. The next time you guys probably see this video, it will be during the nighttime to test out the headlight. I will probably have to readjust it downward, but we will have to see. Alrighty, so this is what the light looks like on the bike. It's not anything fantastic, but it is a light, and it does light up everything in front of me. So it's a decent light. Alright, this is the difference without the light to with the light. So let's go ahead and ride up to the gas station. Again, it's not the best either. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Took me 5 minutes, 77 volts. Yeah, that's pretty bright. Yeah, that's decently bright for a $12 LED bulb, but you can see everything in the back there. You can see the tire, maybe not on video, but in person you can see the whole back tire and everything. Let's go ahead and turn the signals on and see what it looks like. Pretty good, visible. The other one. Yeah, I mean, I can make that out. Let's see. Probably a good 10, 15 yards away. Probably 10 yards. Let's back up a little more. Yeah, I can see that blinking. Real good. Now we'll turn the light on. That's considerable. You can see the bushes and everything in front of it. It's pretty bright. I can't even look at it with my eyes without squinting. I mean, you can see that. You can see the bushes. You can see enough detail up close. Let's twist it around a little bit without pulling the throttle. What about that tree? You can see it. Not too bad. And the horn's definitely loud enough, so yeah. And the nice thing here is, let's turn my flashlight on my phone. The nice thing here is if I want to kill everything, this here you'll recognize is the stock charger, but this here will turn off all accessories. That's how I wired it up. So if I turn it back on, you got the light back on, and you got your light back here back on, tail light. If I want everything off during the daytime or something, I can turn that button and everything turns off. But the key's still on and I can still drive. So, not too bad.
If you enjoy the content like this, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to help me out.